Most garden aisles are designed to make you feel like you're missing something. Dollar Tree is especially good at this. Everything looks useful, everything looks harmless, and because the price is low, it feels like there's nothing to lose. But in gardening, the real cost usually doesn't show up at the register. It shows up later, when something snaps, warps, fades, or quietly stops doing the job you bought it for. Over the past few months, I tested a wide range of Dollar Tree garden items under real conditions. Not unboxing, not one afternoon on a table. Actual use, outside, in soil, in sun, through watering and weather. And after all of that, only a small handful are things I'd buy again in 2026. Today, I'm not showing you everything Dollar Tree sells for the garden. I'm only showing you what proved itself useful, durable enough, and genuinely worth the space it takes up. Because saving money in the garden isn't about buying cheap things. It's about not buying the wrong ones. How these items were tested. Before we look at anything specific, it helps to understand how these were judged. Every item you'll see today was used the way a normal home gardener would use it. No special care, no gentle handling. If it was meant to go in soil, it went in soil. If it was meant to sit in the sun, it stayed there. If it was meant to be handled with wet hands, it was. The standard wasn't perfection. The standard was honesty. Does it do what it claims to do? Does it last long enough to justify buying it? And does it save money over time instead of creating replacement costs later? Anything that failed those tests didn't make it into this video. What this video is and isn't. This isn't a haul, it's not sponsored, and it's not meant to encourage buying more. If anything, this video is about buying less, more carefully. Some Dollar Tree garden items really do have a place, especially for small gardens, seed starting, temporary setups, or lightweight tasks, but they need to be chosen with intention. So, let's start with the first item that surprised me, in a good way. Item 1. Plastic seed starting trays with drainage holes. At first glance, these don't look like much. Thin plastic, lightweight, stackable. The kind of thing most people assume will crack after a week. And to be fair, some versions do. But the trays with proper drainage holes, the ones meant specifically for seed starting, performed better than expected. Why people buy them is obvious. Seed starting can get expensive quickly, especially if you're starting many varieties. These trays promise a low-cost way to organize seedlings without investing in bulky systems. In use, here's what mattered. The plastic is flexible, not brittle. That flexibility matters more than thickness. It allows the tray to absorb minor stress instead of cracking immediately. When filled with seed starting mix and bottom watered, the trays held their shape. They didn't bow and they didn't split at the corners. Drainage was adequate, not generous, but functional. Excess water moved through instead of pooling, which is the main failure point in cheap trays. Now, these are not lifetime trays. They are not replacements for rigid greenhouse flats. But for 1 to 2 seasons of seed starting, they performed reliably. Who are these actually for? They're best for gardeners starting seeds on a table, shelf, or windowsill, especially if space is limited. They're also useful if you don't want to commit storage space to large trays during the off-season. The key is expectation. Used gently, cleaned after the season, and stored flat, these are worth buying. Used as all-purpose plant carriers or overloaded with heavy soil, they won't last. Verdict? Worth buying for seed starting only. Item 2. Plant labels. Plastic, not wood. Plant labels are one of those things gardeners buy over and over again because they keep disappearing or degrading. Dollar Tree sells several versions, but only one type held up, the basic plastic stake labels. People buy them because losing track of what you planted is frustrating, especially when seedlings look identical for weeks. In testing, the plastic labels resisted moisture well. They didn't swell, rot, or soften. Ink stayed visible when written with a garden marker or pencil. Even after watering, the writing didn't wash away. What didn't work were the wooden versions. Those absorbed water, warped, and grew mold within weeks. They're inexpensive for a reason. The plastic labels, on the other hand, did exactly what they're supposed to do. Sit quietly and keep information readable. Who should buy these? Anyone starting seeds, anyone growing multiple varieties, anyone who's tired of guessing. They're not decorative, they're not elegant, but they're practical. Verdict? Worth buying. Simple, reliable, no fuss. Item 3. Small hand scoop. Lightweight tasks only. This one comes with a condition. Dollar Tree hand scoops look like miniature versions of proper garden tools, and that's exactly how they should be treated, as miniature tools. People buy them expecting a scaled-down shovel. That's where disappointment usually comes from. Used correctly, though, they work. For seed starting mix, potting soil, compost topping, or transferring soil into small containers, the scoop performed well. The plastic didn't flex excessively under light loads. The handle was comfortable enough for short tasks. Where it failed was in dense soil. Any attempt to dig, pry, or lift compacted dirt caused visible stress on the handle connection. So, who is this actually for? Gardeners working at a potting bench, people filling containers, anyone dealing with light materials, not ground soil. It's not a digging tool, it's a transferring tool. When used that way, it holds up. Verdict? Worth buying with limits. A quick pause. Why limits matter? This is the part many people skip. Cheap garden items often work perfectly until they're asked to do more than they were designed to do. Most failures aren't sudden. They're gradual. A little flex here, a small crack there, until one day it's unusable. Knowing the limits of a tool is what makes it worth owning. Let's move on. Item 4. Twist ties and plant support ties. These are unassuming, and that's their strength. Dollar Tree plant ties, especially the soft-coated wire versions, performed consistently. People buy them to support young plants, guide vines, or organize stems. In testing, the coating prevented stem damage, and the wire held its shape without cutting into plants. They resisted sun exposure better than expected, no immediate cracking, no peeling within the season. These aren't meant for heavy structural support. They won't hold up a tomato plant in a storm, but for guiding growth early on, they're effective. Who benefits most? Small space gardeners, container growers, anyone training herbs, peppers, or light climbers. Verdict? Worth buying, quietly useful. Item 5. Spray bottles for gentle tasks. Spray bottles are tricky. Many fail quickly. Leaks, broken triggers, uneven spray. The Dollar Tree versions worked, but only for specific tasks, used for misting seedlings, dampening soil surfaces, or applying gentle foliar sprays. They performed fine. The trigger action remained smooth over repeated use, and the bottles didn't collapse under pressure. What they didn't handle well was thick solutions or frequent refilling. Over time, stress showed at the neck threads. So who should buy these? Gardeners needing a temporary misting solution. Anyone starting seeds indoors. Who shouldn't? Anyone planning daily heavy use. Verdict: worth buying for light, temporary use. The Dollar Tree items that work tend to be the ones that don't pretend to be something they're not. They're simple, lightweight, limited in scope, and when used exactly for that purpose, they hold up. Where things get complicated is with items that look like full garden solutions, but only work under certain conditions. These are the ones that cause the most confusion, because they don't fail immediately, they fail slowly, just enough to make you question whether it was user error or product design. Let's talk about those next. Item 6. Small plastic plant pots, 2 to 4 inch. These are everywhere, and people buy them for good reason. They're cheap, they're stackable, and they seem perfect for seedlings, cuttings, or temporary transplants. In testing, these pots performed well only when treated as temporary containers. Filled with light potting mix and used indoors or in shaded outdoor areas, they held their shape. Drainage holes were adequate. Roots developed normally. But once exposed to prolonged sun, especially in midsummer, the plastic began to stiffen and lose flexibility. That stiffness is the beginning of failure. It doesn't crack immediately, but it stops forgiving stress. So who are these actually for? They're ideal for starting seedlings, rooting cuttings, or holding plants briefly before transplanting. They are not ideal for full-season outdoor growth, larger plants, or anything that needs stability and wind. If you think of them as plant nursery containers, not permanent homes, they make sense. Verdict: worth buying for short-term use only. Item 8. Garden gloves, light duty only. Garden gloves are one of the most tempting Dollar Tree purchases. You always need them, and they always wear out. The lightweight fabric gloves performed acceptably for gentle tasks, planting seedlings, pulling small weeds, handling dry soil. What they didn't tolerate well was abrasion. Repeated contact with rough soil, rocks, or wooden edges wore them down quickly. Seams loosened, fabric thinned. This doesn't make them useless, it just defines their role. Who benefits most? Gardeners who want a barrier between skin and soil, gardeners working with containers, doing light maintenance rather than heavy digging. Who should skip them? Anyone doing serious bed prep, pruning, or working with thorny plants. Verdict: conditionally worth buying. Disposable mindset required. Item 9. Plastic plant saucers. These are rarely talked about, but they're quietly useful. Dollar Tree plant saucers, especially the thicker versions, handled water well. They didn't warp immediately. They contained runoff without cracking. Used under small to medium containers, they did exactly what they're supposed to do. The problem arises when they're oversized for their thickness. Large saucers filled with water became unstable and flexed under weight. So the rule here is simple: match size to load. Who should buy these? Indoor gardeners, patio container growers, anyone protecting surfaces from water damage. Verdict: worth buying if sized appropriate. Item 10. Watering can, small capacity. This one surprises people. Dollar Tree watering cans don't look promising. Thin plastic, small handles, basic spout. But for indoor plants, seedlings, and small container gardens, they worked. The water flow was gentle, the handle remained intact under light loads, the spout didn't clog easily. Where they failed was capacity. Filling them completely added stress to the handle connection over time. So again, this is about limits. Who is this for? Someone watering houseplants, seed trays, or a few small containers. Not someone watering an entire garden bed. Verdict: worth buying for short-term use only. A quiet failure. Decorative garden items. This is where money quietly disappears. Dollar Tree sells a lot of garden decor. Stakes, signs, ornaments, solar pieces. They look charming in store. Outdoors, most of them didn't hold up. Paint faded quickly. Stakes bent or snapped. Plastic degraded in sunlight. Solar lights stopped charging reliably. The issue isn't that they're decorative, it's that they're temporary decor sold as seasonal, but often used as permanent. If you enjoy changing decor frequently and understand they're short-lived, they might feel acceptable. But from a value standpoint, they don't earn their place. Verdict: generally skip. Item 10. Plant trellises, small, lightweight. These are a classic example of misleading scale. The small plastic trellises worked for what they could realistically support: light vines, young plants, and gentle training. They did not work for tomatoes, cucumbers, or anything with weight or wind exposure. Used in containers, sheltered from strong wind, they stayed upright. Used in open ground, they leaned quickly. Who should consider them? Container gardeners growing herbs, peas, or decorative vines. Verdict: worth buying only if expectations are modest. Why almost works is the most expensive category. This is an important moment to pause. Items that fail immediately are annoying, but clear. You know not to buy them again. Items that almost work are more dangerous. They encourage repeat purchases. They create uncertainty. They make you wonder if next time will be different. That's where money leaks out of a garden budget. Understanding this category helps you make better decisions, not just at Dollar Tree, but everywhere. Item 11. Hand pruners, basic model. These are a hard no. Dollar Tree hand pruners struggled almost immediately. Blades dulled quickly, alignment shifted, cutting cleanly became difficult. This isn't just about quality, it's about plant health. Poor cuts damage stems and invite disease. Verdict: skip entirely. Item 12. Hoses, nozzles, and connectors. Another clear boundary. Water pressure exposes weaknesses quickly. Plastic connectors cracked, nozzles leaked, threads stripped. Even if they work briefly, replacement becomes inevitable. Verdict: skip entirely. The emotional side of cheap garden tools. There's something subtle that happens when tools fail often. You start adjusting your behavior. You avoid certain tasks. You rush. You work around limitations instead of enjoying the process. Gardening should feel steady, not fragile. That's why the items worth buying are the ones you don't think about while using them. They simply do their job. Dollar Tree can work for the garden, but only if you approach it with restraint. Not everything deserves a chance, and not everything that works once deserves a second purchase. What actually saves money in 2026 isn't chasing the lowest price. It's choosing tools and supplies that don't interrupt your rhythm, damage your plants, or need replacing halfway through the season. So instead of revisiting everything, let's narrow this down to the few items that truly earn their place. When a tool or supply understands its role, light duty, temporary use, simple function, it often succeeds, even at a low price. When it tries to imitate something more demanding, that's where disappointment sets in. The most expensive gardening habit isn't buying quality tools, it's replacing inadequate ones over and over again. Gardening without fragility. There's also something less obvious at work here. When your tools are unreliable, your confidence erodes. You hesitate, you rush, you avoid certain tasks because you're anticipating frustration. Reliable tools, even simple ones, create calm. They let you focus on the plants instead of the process. That's why I'd rather own fewer tools that work quietly than a shelf full of bargains that constantly need attention. A different way to shop Dollar Tree. If you do shop Dollar Tree for garden items in 2026, I'd suggest going in with one question. Is this asking to do more than it reasonably can? If the answer is yes, leave it behind. If it's simple, lightweight, and honest about its purpose, it might be worth considering. That single filter removes most regrets before they happen. Gardening doesn't reward excess, it rewards consistency. The best gardens aren't built on impulse buys. They're built on steady habits, thoughtful choices, and tools that don't demand attention. Dollar Tree has a small place in that process, but only when you let it stay small. If you've tried any of these items yourself, or if there's something you think deserves testing next, feel free to share your experience. Gardening gets better when we learn from each other, quietly, season by season.